Hello, I'm Amy Davison from Gallery 1. Thank you for joining me today for our Stocking Hat Gnome Art2GO kit. Let me go through what you will find in your Art2GO bag that you have picked up. You will find a written pamphlet here. You will find a written pamphlet. If you want to take time to review the steps or look at the knots better, this will give you the step-by-steps of how to do this when you are not on the computer. You will find a ball of yarn, and this may come in a few different colors. I did an assortment. You will have some paper towel tube, a big soft Pom Pom. Don't confuse it with your little cotton balls, okay? This is going to be the beard of your gnome, and these are to fill the hat to give it some extra structure. You will have a little wooden half sphere, which will be the gnome's adorable little button nose. You will have a roll of sticky dot tape. These are super sticky, so I'm going to show you a special method of how to apply these and not have them just stick all over your fingers really bad. You'll have a piece of cardboard, a couple of mini clothespins, and a ornament hook. What you will also need additionally, oh no, wait, your kits included them. You will have a pair of scissors. Mine are bigger than yours because I did not take one of the small sets home with me, but you will need a pair of scissors. All right, so your first step is to take your paper towel tube, and we are going to cut a little strip of this to be the hat band. If you're one of our younger artists, you might need to ask for a parent's help or an older sibling's help on this. And you're going to take this and you're going to cut as nice and straight as you can to create a little ring. This is going to be your hat. Okay? And if yours is like mine and is coming apart a little bit, that's okay. We're just going to be really careful when we do the knot step over it to make sure that we hold it together with our knots. Okay, I'm going to set this slightly out of my way. The next step is to make a whole bunch of little pieces of yarn that are going to be all the same length. Now, if you wanted, you could sit there and pull this and cut it and line it up and cut it, but I have a trick. It's going to make this so much easier. If you've ever made pom-poms with Miss Becky at the gallery, then I think her pom-poms start out similar to this. I'm going to take and line my yarn up at the end of my board, and I'm going to clamp it. I'm going to clamp from this direction. I'm going to clamp it right here. Okay, so if I pull really hard, it will come out. So let's change that just a little bit. Now it's a little bit more snug. Now what we do is keeping our yarn very close to each other, but not overlapping. We will sit here and wrap all the way down our board, okay? You keep going. You see what I'm doing? I have them all wrapped in here. If I didn't have this up by the camera, I could go really, really super speed. But it's a little awkward here, not hitting the camera. Keep them nice and close. I'll make it easier when we come to our cutting stage. There we go, I got it going. And if your yarn is rolling all over your desk like mine is, you could even stick it like in a bowl or drop it to the ground, and then it won't go all over, it won't bug you as much. This doesn't have to be perfect, but the tidier you do it, the less frustrated you're going to be when you go to cut, and it's going to be more equally measured. I think that's probably enough pieces of yarn. If I didn't wrap it far enough and I need a few more at the end of my project, I can always go in and cut a few more. I'm going to take my scissors, cut right there, and then I'm going to take this loose end and my other clothespin and hook it in place. Okay, so now I can set this down. I can go grab a sip of water, whatever I need to do. I don't have to worry about my yarn going and unwrapping. Next, you're carefully going to take your scissors. You're going to slide it under the yarn. You see how I have that slid under the blade? I mean, over the blade. And then you're going to go ahead and cut. And you might have to kind of adjust where you're holding. See, that one came loose. Or repin it if you need to with the clothespin. I'm just trying to keep my hand on it. I have one more good snip. There we go. Oh, look, there's one that didn't cut and it's all funny. We're not going to need that one. Toss that to the side. Okay. I'm going to unclip the extra ones that are still hanging on. This one is a little bit short. We could use that one for tying later. Now that we have our pile of yarn, they're all equal shapes, we're going to start tying our lark head knot around our cardboard. This is also a great way to cut a whole bunch of pieces of yarn if you do latch hook. That's what this reminds me. So in order to tie a lark's head knot, you're going to take a piece of yarn and fold it in half. See my ends right here line up, and I have a loop on this end. I'm going to take my loop, which is the middle point, and set it under my cardboard. And then I'm going to take my yarn, and I'm going to poke those two loose ends through my loop and pull it down. And you see how this makes a little thing right here? This knot is called a lark's head. I think it's one of the easiest knots to tie. So let's show that again. I'm taking a piece of yarn, I'm folding it in half so my ends meet up over here, and I have a loop, making sure that I have the middle. I'm going to take and poke it in my ring of cardboard. I'm going to open that up a little bit, and you can also do it this way. I have two fingers right here in my loop. I can also do it this way and grab it and pull it through if that's easier for you than the other way. Same results, just a little bit more convenient. I'll do one more here, then I can speed up my process and show you. So here again, two loops, the middle, and tuck it through. I'm going to use my two fingers again because that was easier for me to pull it through. Keep these nice and tightly together, and you can even pinch them and squish them this direction, and it'll keep going into a really cool hat band, a fake hat band. We don't even have to crochet or knit for this project. I'm going to do the magic of Martha Stewart and go like this. Ta-da! Here's one that's already done. So you can see that I did this nice and tightly together. Our next step is going to be to kind of finger comb this and make sure that our pieces are laying fairly flat and in line. And then you're going to kind of gather this. I don't like the way that one's laying right there, so let's fix that one. There we go. We're going to take one of our pieces of yarn, and this part you might have a little more success with if you have an extra person to help you hold and put a finger on the knot. If you are learning to tie knots, then just ask for a little help on this part if you need to. But we're going to go ahead here and tie our half knot, and I'm tying it a little closer to this end than halfway. pretty close. And you can see that when I start tying it and pull these ends tight, I get a natural made pom-pom on the top of it. Here's the tricky part. We need to tie one more half knot. So I'm going to hold my finger here. This is a part that it would help if you have somebody else help you put your finger right there if you're new to knots. Okay, I'm getting it pulled through, trying to keep it all tight, and ta-da. So if you want, you could tie a little bow right here out of this by making a loop, just like tying your shoes where you go around the tree and you tuck it through, or you could trim it short so it's the same length as all of the other pieces. I like the pom-pom on top. I think that makes my little gnome have a cute festive little top. But if you do not like that part, you can take and tuck it all in like so. And maybe trim this little loose piece that I just knocked loose. And it can be a little hat right here without the big pom-pom if you like the shorter stocking cap. I think I was a little vigorous and untied a couple spots though. Whoops. That's okay, we'll just tuck them in. The next step that I have is to fill the pom-pom with something so it doesn't just collapse on us. I packed in your kit 3 cotton balls, so you can take them and shove them in here and push them to where they make sense. Or you could use some of your extra yarn that you cut or some tissue paper, just something to fill that space a little bit. Our next step is figuring out how to use the sticky dots, and they are kind of tricky. I'm going to roll mine. Look, this part doesn't have any on mine, so I'm going to rip that off so I don't confuse everybody. I'm going to count 1, 2, 3, 4. I need 4 of them for my first step. And these are super duper sticky, okay? They touch your skin and they grab on like this, and they string and they slime and they ball up. That's not going to help us with our project very good, okay, guys? That will make us frustrated. And I just threw it in the garbage can. Don't throw it on your floor. What I'm going to do here, actually, I think it'll be easier if I cut one off separately. I'm going to pick this one up and stick it right here. Can you see that? I went and I left the paper on it so I can squeeze it into the yarn, okay, and get it stuck to those yarn fibers. Let's do that 3 more times. So we have 4 of them evenly spaced around the inside of my gnome hat. And this is going to make the giant puffy pom-pom of his beard have something to stick to. Now, if you don't have a lot of glue dots, or you've made so many of these adorable little hats that you've ran out, you could definitely use something like hot glue here. Hot glue would work wonderful for this. Just be careful that you don't burn yourself. So now that I have all of the pieces in here, where's my camera? I'm going the wrong way. Okay, there we go. Now that I have all my pieces of paper stuck in there, we're going to gently pull the papers out, like taking the stickers off of the back of the paper off the back of a sticker. That's essentially what we're making here. You might have to use your fingernail just a little bit to get it started. I think my camera lights are making my sticky extra sticky today. Okay, 1, 2, 3, and 4. And now you should have, I don't think you're going to be able to see it very well, but you should now have little pieces of glue stuck to your yarn. It doesn't show up on camera great. You're going to take your pom-pom, you're going to smoosh it in there, and then you're going to kind of squeeze and pinch with your pinchy fingers all the way around the edges like this to make sure that your the beard here, the pom-pom, is actually sticking to our glue dots. You can see if I gently tug it and shake it, it's stuck. It's not going to be super strong, so don't, they're fragile. They're an ornament. So this is where we're at so far. We have a little puffy beard and our hat. At this point, you could leave it like this and say it was a snowman, or you could add a little piece of felt or something to make a little carrot nose. But for our project, we're going to put a little bead right here and make him an adorable little gnome. Now, we can't just stick it here, it falls off. So what we've got to do is put another sticky dot on. So here I am, I'm going to unroll it to where I have one dot exposed. I'm going to line my wooden bead on here and push. See, my finger's turning red. I'm pushing so hard right there. Then I'm going to gently tip it up. And as I angle it and peel, look, the sticky stayed right where I wanted it on this side of the bead and not the paper. So then we're going to take this and I'm going to tuck mine to where it just ever so slightly. Whoops, I just pulled my other one out. That should be good. I'm going to push and squeeze and maybe count to like 5 to feel like it really like got a chance to grip. Okay, I might have to add another sticky on this side because I think when I was shaking it, I think I was too crazy. So I'm going to go under here and leave a new sticky dot right there. Tuck that in, tuck his nose in, and hold it. And like I said, hot glue works great for this too. Just use supervision of someone older than you if you are one of our younger artists. There you go. And the last major step for this project is to take your metal ornament hook and you can either tie another little knot or you could slip it through here. I'm going to take mine and see right here I have that loop from my tie that I did earlier around. Hold our pom-pom together, our fake pom-pom. I'm going to go like that and look. We have completed our project already. That's what it's going to look like. All right, if you want to come back to my face, hello. Thank you guys so much for joining me and making our adorable little gnome ornament. You're going to be able to hang this on a tree or in your window, or maybe even use it next to the bow on a package if you give gifts in your family. You could make miniature versions and make them into earrings. Should I do that? Maybe I'll do that. I hope you guys had a wonderful day. Thank you for joining me. And once again, I'm Amy Davison from Gallery One, and this is an Art2GO project. Have a great afternoon, everybody. Bye.